Hey guys, we are here at Carroll County Public Library and we are in the history room. We're going to share with you how easy it is to research your amazing family history. So one of the services our library provides is access to a library edition version of Heritage Quest or Ancestry. It's basically ancestry.com. So, and it's going to function a little bit differently. We're going to show you some of those differences. And it is something that the library provides free to you as a patron, and access to it here in our history room where you can work in the quiet. You can also bring in your laptop and work in the library logged in, or one of the public computers out in the library. They do not have remote access, so you will not be able to work at home on this database. You need to work in the Carroll County Public Library, or you have to get a paid subscription if you'd like to continue your work at home. But you could get a good beginning here free in the library, do your basic research, and then if you want to be able to, let's say, build your family tree, that's where you'll need a paid subscription to be able to do that. So I'm going to show you here in the library how to get into use this source. So from the library webpage, which is easy to get onto, it's carrollcountylibrary.org. It's easy to pull up here in the library. You're going to switch to the tab across this top toolbar that says databases. And I'm just going to tell you that there are several that are just fantastic to use. You can scroll down to the bottom and there is a little square app, Heritage Quest, and it'll say in library use only. And so you need to be working in the library. Once you get to here, you really, if you're working in here on this computer in the history room, you do not need your library card. Otherwise, you enter your library card, hit connect, and go over here to terms and conditions, which without even putting in my library card number has brought me to this taskbar up here, and it's Ancestry Library. So I'm going to click on Home, and this brings you to the home page of the Ancestry Library Edition or Heritage Quest. So this is the best place to get started. And before you get started, I'm going to show you a great resource. If you click on Charts and Forms, you are able to print out or download. If you're out on one of the public computers or you're on your own laptop in the library, you are able to download several forms. And one of the best ones to use for your resource is this ancestral chart. And it looks just like a family tree, and it can be edited. You don't have to write it in. It can be edited right here on the computer. You're just going to want to be, if you want to save it, you're going to want to be outside in the other room where you can put a flash drive in and save it. So I'm just going to show you what that looks like. So see these blue areas on the form? You're able to go in and actually put in all your information. And what I did when I initially started my research, I printed it out so that I could do it by hand and make little scratch notes, and it gave me an organized format to make those notes. And then I went back in and edited. So, okay, there are several other forms that are great. There's a research calendar to help you keep track of dates and what you found. You can make notes through a research extract, a correspondence record if you end up doing phone calls and talk to anyone, a family group sheet, which allows you to take a little bit more detailed information that you've logged in on this ancestral chart. There's also a source summary so that you can keep track of documenting where you found the information, because I didn't keep those notes at the beginning. And I had to scramble back and think, okay, where did I find that at, so that I could find a similar source for a different member of my family. So all these just keep your research organized, and I really like that. Okay, we're going to go back to the home page. And a really simple way to start is just putting in your grandmother or grandfather's name and see what pops up. So I'm going to kind of do that so that you can see, and then I'll show you some of the other areas where you can search. I'm going to put in grandmother, and I'm going to put in her name. And what was so cool about this is I was fascinated that I could access her birth certificate. I actually looked at her birth certificate, and I know she was born Dallas, Texas. My grandmother is 98, by the way, and she is still alive. And here she is. This is my grandparent. It brings up several names. And I'm going to actually click on her because I see her mother's name and her father's name. And then the software begins to do a little search. So, and what has come up in my little initial search, this is a simple one, is the U.S. Census in 1940. So I could literally see the street that they lived on, their neighbors, occupation, things like that. So, and it highlights it for you, and it gives you a summary over here. And let me zoom out, and you can drag it and look, and I can see that in 1940, it was my great-grandmother, my grandmother's mother, and her daughter living in the house. And I saw that they had 2 lodgers in the house. So I was excited to see that. And then there are other questions. It says, has a job, other work, how many weeks they worked. I found this fascinating. And then I was kind of hooked, and I wanted to search more and see what else I could see. So, okay, let me go back here. Okay, so like I said, I could see my grandmother's records on the census. I'm going to go down here, and what this database provides is access to the census. You can search vitals. In my search for my grandmother, I actually looked at her physical birth certificate. So if you have, as you search in these and you find them, what you do is you gather other dates and other information from them. I ended up seeing a death certificate for my great-great-grandfather, and I could see his cause of death and his date of death as well. And it just was really interesting. I searched military records, and I found my grandfather's discharge record, honorable discharge, when he was finished with his military service. I also saw my great-great-grandfather's record of being in the Civil War, which was fascinating. And from that, I could see those parents' names, so I could go back further in my research. You can also search immigration records. And a lot of people think that immigration records are merely water vessels, boats, but they have other things, airplane records, flight manifests, and things like that. So it's really fascinating. So you can search for wills. The one thing you can't do is link to another member in your family. You can't link to their family tree. For that, you need a paid subscription to Ancestry.com. So, but this really gets you started, and see if you catch the bug for family history research. And it's free and accessible in the public library. So come in and check out what we have to offer. And if you need help, we're always here for assistance.